Hello and welcome back to the Huddle. Liam Santamaria with you, and it's been a hot little minute. Took a little break here during the off-season. Been busy signing next stars and things like that, but we're back. NBL free agency has been popping off, and we're right around the corner from the NBA Summer League. And a man who has been involved in both of those things before this year and is going to be back in action in Las Vegas is joining me on the show today. Luke Travers, formerly from the Perth Wildcats, now with Melbourne United, one of the big movers during NBL free agency this year. He's in California, he's getting some work done, and we're going to catch up with him. So sit back, relax. Up next, LT. LT, mate. What's happening? Good to see you again, man.
Thanks for having me. Right at the moment, not doing too much. Still out in Irvine. Just been working out with Tony Versatility again. So that's been good. And just to be back and see familiar faces and stuff, it's always nice. Before head off to Cleveland this weekend to prepare for Summer League. So looking forward to that as well.
Okay, nice. I can see just over your left shoulder, the curtains are drawn, but the sunlight is still pouring in. Is it beautiful in California right now?
It's not too bad. I know I'm trying to skip winter again, but it hasn't been too sunny and stuff over here just yet. But I'm sure once we get to Vegas, it'll be a whole nother ball game.
It'll be hot.
Yeah, very.
It's unseasonably and unnaturally hot in the middle of the desert in Vegas.
Yeah, it doesn't make it easier to play in either.
No, for sure. We'll get to that in a sec. Let's talk about what's going on there in Irvine. So this is the Jordan Lawley practice facility. This is the Daniel Moldovan octagon setup. You didn't say Jordan Lawley there. Who is the trainer that you're working with specifically?
So yeah, I'm at Jordan Lawley's facility, but I'm with Tony Versatility, who's another guy that trains NBA guys and has a lot of experience with that sort of stuff. So got real close with him over the last 2 years. So to be back working with him, just to be more comfortable out there, I can speak my mind a little bit more freely now. And we're narrowing down those sort of things that we did last year, and taking another step forward.
Who are the other players in the gym at the moment?
So Dyson's been out a little bit just here and there on the weekends when he's going back and forth from New Orleans. I'm living with Mo Mojave King at the moment. So he's doing his draft workouts and stuff. And just when he's back in town, he works out with us. But that's about it for now. I think Josh just went back to Australia. So he was out here for a little bit as well. So, it's a lot of those guys that, you sort of grew up playing against, and it's cool to have everyone back in and working as well.
Okay, really cool. It is a hotbed of Australian young talent. Is Mo in the building right now? Is he in the house?
Nah, he's away at some more workouts as well. So he's been in and out real bad. So I'm sure he's killing it as well. But it's cool to see as well, doing that last year, and now living with him and just giving any bit of advice and stuff it's been good.
What sense are you getting from him right now ahead of the draft? Is he anxious?
For sure. I think he's in a similar boat to what I was last year. It's all sort of up in the air and you don't really know until draft day. So I know his workouts have been going well. He's been smashing them out he's done quite a few. So I'm sure he's looking forward to it, but definitely anxious at the same time.
Okay. Shout out my man Derek Rucker, who works with Mo back in Queensland. All right, well, tell us about your work, man. What have you been? You're saying that you're speaking your mind a little more. What are you and Tony working on?
It's still the same sort of stuff, still the jump shot. I think that and it's coming a lot better as well. Just another year over here. But even just little things like fadeaways or getting to the post, just using my size and stuff. So I definitely think that's going to be stuff that'll help with Summer League, but also the NBL for this next year as well. Just playing a little bit more of the four. But even when I'm coming off an on ball, need to slow down a little bit, just stop and go to the post. So those sort of stuff that we're working on, and it's coming a long way for sure. We've only been out here for a month, and it's come a long way.
What did you do with the jump shot this time last year? because the playmaking at Summer League last year was a beautiful thing, and you and I talked a lot about that at the time. But you knocked down open looks as well, and that's where it sort of started. And then you came into the NBL last season, you shot 40% from three, or near on 39%, after 25% the year before. Huge improvement. And by the end of the season, like, you were feeling yourself from long range. Did you make a big adjustment, or what changed?
I think a lot of it, and I've said this to multiple people, was like just a whole mentality switch. But I think just becoming confident, like getting those reps up. When I was over here, we were just shooting a bunch, so just getting comfortable with the shot. But we're narrowing down like little things like getting down in the stance, playing a little bit lower with just about everything. But then just seeing the ball go through the rim a lot more gives you that confidence. And when you're open, you're sort of just shooting it, and it's the same thing every time. So it's just been a lot more of that this year as well, which I'm hoping to continue to, like shoot at those high percentages, even if it's a little bit higher volume. Just sort of, try to keep it up there a little bit.
How are you going, like, swinging between the ball and the arc from the NBL to the NBA? So you're over here playing with the NBL ball at the NBL three-point line, and then you go over to Irvine, you get yourself ready for the Summer League, and you're using the NBA ball on the bigger arc. How's that going?
It's not too bad. It definitely starts off a little bit slower, but like Tony knows exactly what he's doing. He'll get me shooting from just inside half court, and just like getting used to that fluidity and stuff. Like it's a little bit further out. But yeah, he's got plenty of experience with that to get guys used to it. He has heaps of pros coming in, even from like overseas and stuff. So he does a hell of a job with that, and he's made it real easy for me.
What about the runs that you guys have been having? I've seen some vision of who's been involved in those. What have those been like?
Like I said, just a lot of pros from overseas. Even
You
Frank
don't know
Nitti
their
is like
names.
nah, not exactly. There's a lot of them. But yeah, even Frank Nitti is like a legend over here. So he's been killing it as well. So there's a lot of pros. So it's a pretty good runs at the moment. So anytime you get that sort of opportunity, you just got to make the most of it.
Yeah, nice. And what have you been doing in your free time?
Still the same sort of stuff, just video games, a bit of shopping, been to LA a couple of weekends, hanging out in Hollywood and stuff. So that's been nice because I didn't really do much of that last year. So being able to get out to LA and spend a little time out there, sightsee a little bit. So it's been pretty good.
Who's like the take you out guy? Is it Daniel? Is it Jordan?
Uh, it is mostly a bit of Moldovan, but like we've had Josh out in a couple of weekends, Dyson, and even Tyrese Proctor was out here a couple of weekends ago. So it's just been all us Aussies and stuff, and just hanging out on the weekends in LA. So it's been real nice.
All right, let's talk about Summer League. So you're heading to Cleveland to get into the pre-Summer League camp. How you feeling ahead of this year's event after your experiences the last year?
I think just a whole lot more confident. Obviously, sort of that first year, just sort of feeling it out. Don't know really what to expect. So, and obviously, I've gotten a lot better since then. So, definitely looking forward to this one to, you know, even try and crack a contract or whatever it is that you're playing for. So, just definitely looking forward to this sort of time around, and also just building relationships with the coaches as well. Like I was out there last week just working out with the
Mm,
coaches. So to build those sort of relationships definitely helps. And then, like I said, just looking forward to the basketball side of things as well.
nice. So what's their feedback been like? Obviously, they would have been impressed with the improvements you made with the shot. They would have been talking about the playmaking you put on display at Summer League last year. What have those conversations been like?
Yeah, it's been pretty much exactly that. Obviously, they think that I've gotten a lot better, but even just with my body as well, like the last couple of months, haven't been doing too much basketball besides when I came out here. So it was a lot in the gym. So I think I've put on another 3 or 4 kilos. So I'm up to almost 100 kilos. So I think that's a big thing for them as well with the size that I've put on as well. So going to this summer league, I think they're definitely looking forward to using me in a little bit more actions as well. So it should be a good one.
Nice, nice. And the other thing that you really showed this time last year was your defensive impact. Now, we're, of course, used to seeing that in the NBA, but how kind of disruptive you can be, how you can get your hands on balls, trigger the break, get in those passing lanes. You've been talking about that kind of stuff as well.
Yeah, for sure. I think that was the thing with trying to put on a little bit more size was to. I think the thing that I struggled with was just post defense, which was
Right.
something that I wanted to address and get better at, but also try to keep my speed and stuff to be able to stay in front of those guards at the same time. So hopefully, yeah, with these sort of adjustments, can keep doing that sort of stuff, but also improve at the same time.
Yeah, right. So we talk about your versatility, but we often talk about it at the offensive end, right? Like I'm a four who can handle it, I can play point forward, and you did that for the Cavs in Vegas last year. But that means if that's how they're playing you at the other end, you got to guard the four,
Yeah.
and you can do that from a perimeter perspective, but that's interesting to hear you talking about the strength element and being able to mix it in the block as well.
Yeah, and I think the big eye opener was like 2 years ago trying to guard Vic Law at training. Just in
Oh
the
yeah.
post with his body of work, like the way he will separate and use his body to get space as well. So I think that was a real eye opener. And then just with how important the fourth man is, like becoming the NBL, is pretty crazy. So to be able to guard those guys in the post is something that I need to do this year for Melbourne. So looking forward to the challenge and obviously trying to get a head start in that as well.
In this next 2 weeks, before things tip off, 2.5, maybe 3 weeks before things tip off in Vegas, are you going to cut the hair?
I have been thinking about it, but I think I'll leave it for Summer League. See how it goes. If it doesn't get too annoying, but after that, it's all up in the air right now.
The hair or the idea?
The hair, really. I'm definitely thinking about getting rid of it for sure.
Dude, I'm here for that. Let me put it
Yeah.
on the record. I feel like you rocking up on day one in Vegas, like short back and sides, will be a whole thing. Like it
I
was
don't
the
know.
Larry Bird lookalike last year, and it'll be like, yo, look, this is the new Luke Travers.
Yeah, I have thought about it. Like that's definitely come across my mind, but also the reception it got last year was pretty cool as well. So yeah, there's pros and cons for both of them for sure.
I know, but you were the hair guy last year, and now you're gonna be the stat sheet stuffer guy.
That is true. Yeah, it definitely. Yeah, it's all up in the air right now, so we'll see what happens.
All right. So while we're talking about change, how you've changed your body, how you've been changing your game, how you're going to change your hair in these next couple of weeks. Let's talk about your change of team that you've
Mm.
done from an NBL perspective. Now, who knows? You may never play for Melbourne United. You might go to the Summer League and you might do a Jack White or a Torrey Craig, one of these guys. That's the idea. And, play at such a level where you're actually going to be stateside next season. We'll see. But if not, you're going to be with Melbourne United. Let's start with Perth, man. What does that organisation mean to you?
I think everyone sort of gets it twisted and stuff that I was, leaving for all these other reasons, which it wasn't. It was purely off just needed to get out of home and get away from family and friends. But that organization has done so much for me in terms of making the person that I am like today. All like my parents obviously have that sort of impact on me, but they have a significant amount of that as well. So even just starting like the 4 years ago, just this young 17-year-old just trying to figure his way out. Everyone there was just trying to help me in any way they could, even the front office as well. So yeah, I can't say enough about them. And even to this past couple of weeks, like when I finally decided to make that decision, they were all on my side as well, just sort of saying all the best and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, I can't say enough about everyone, like from top to bottom, really.
And the Red Army?
Yeah, obviously they aren't too happy with it, but the 4 years that I was with them was always support. So yeah, that's an unbelievable atmosphere they've got out there, and it's definitely something that I won't ever forget as well.
You're going to miss playing as that home team at the Jungle?
Yeah, for sure. Like it's always going to be where I'm from, and it's always going to be home as well. So to be playing in front of family and friends, like I said, but also the Red Army that's so prominent in the league as well, and for that to be my home as well was definitely cool. So definitely will miss it, but looking forward to the opportunity now.
Yeah, it was interesting chatting with Dan Shamir a couple of years ago, and he was, talking about the league and all the different teams and everything, and he was talking about the Wildcats and about how walking into the jungle for him felt like similar to walking into like the home arena for Panathinaikos or Olympiacos or Real Madrid, like these powerhouse teams in Europe,
Yeah,
where you could just feel the success. Like it was a big arena, of course, but you could feel the success of the place. The banners were there, the retired jerseys. Then as the fans came in, the whole place got filled out. Everyone was wearing the same color. They knew when to stand up, and they were all the kind of traditions of how to support the team. Like that must have been really cool to be a part of as you grew from a teenager into a pro.
for sure. And I remember those first couple of games, being a 17-year-old, being scared to get out there just to, you don't want to screw up in front of them and stuff and
Yeah,
get an earful. But a big thing I say to like the NBA guys over here, they ask me about that. I think it's just a whole nother ballgame. Like all those fans, they're there to support the Wildcats rather than like a good night out. They're purely there
yeah,
to like support their team. So
right,
it's completely different to some other, even just being in the NBA. Like some,
right.
you see the fans and stuff. They're there for a good night out and stuff. But in Perth, it's a whole other ballgame. Like they're all there
Yeah,
to help that team win as well. So yeah,
yeah.
it's real cool.
That's a really good point. Like a lot of people go to pro ball games around the world, like, and they may be excited to see one of the guys from the opposition. Like,
For
oh
sure.
hey, like so and so's coming into town, or they're just kind of like this is a cool thing to do on a Friday or Saturday night with the family or
Yeah.
whatever. Whereas like RAC Arena is full of people who are there to play their part in trying to get the Wildcats to get a win.
Yeah.
Now, Melwood United is a slightly little bit of a different type of setup in terms of fan base. Still like a big, passionate fan base, but it's a bit of a different type of setup. But it is an organisation that has really done a great job of developing players to improve their game, but also advance to the NBA level. Jock Landale, Jack White are the best examples in the last couple of years. What was it about that organisation, Dean Vickerman, another Octagon guy, and Chris Golding, the whole setup there that made them the team you wanted to go to?
I think it's just a big opportunity, I think, for sure. Like being able to play that four man, but also have the ball a little bit more. I know they play a lot through the four, just swinging it back in the offense. So I think just having those sort of guys around you as well, like CG on the perimeter, like finding shooters is something that I really enjoy doing. So that'll be fun as well. And then also bringing in JLA, another big that I like to be in a little bit more pick and rolls. So to have him in a pick and roll as well, but then also setting screens for Delhi and so it's just it's unlimited really with all the opportunities as well. So and I think just the facility they've got set up there is unbelievable as well. So being able to have that sort of access at all times to just get up shots and whatever I want. So it's definitely a real good opportunity I've got out there, and just looking forward to it all.
Have you hooked up a spot? Like, are you going to be based somewhere close to Hoop City?
Yeah, so I've got an apartment out in like St Kilda sort of area. So it's close to the beach, which is always nice, but also close to cafes and stuff. So definitely looking
Okay.
forward to that as well, just the lifestyle as well.
All right. So you've gone that side of the CBD, but it's like a combination of lifestyle and access.
Yeah, I think that was the sort of thing about it. Like, I didn't want to be in the city, like where it's too packed, but I wanted to be close as well. So,
Right.
obviously the traffic's pretty crazy. So, just being that short sort of drive, if
Nice.
there is traffic, it's a little bit longer, but also like 20 minutes from Hoop City as well. So it's good.
Now you're right what you were talking about there, and they would have laid out. I'm sure they laid it out to you in with vision about that four spot in Dean Vickerman's system and the connector that guy is. But I'm sure as well there would have been conversation about what Xavier Cooks has done in Sydney the last couple of years, right? Like that's almost kind of the blueprint for you, isn't it? Like
Yeah,
point forward, grab it and go, playmaking, big guy.
for sure. And I think that's, like I said earlier, like it's become so important in the NBL. Like the four man is so prominent in just about every other team. So to be that guy for Melbourne now is definitely something that I'm looking forward to, and it obviously comes with a lot of pressure at the same time. But I think that'll also, bring the best out of me as well. So definitely, yeah, that was the sort of blueprint we're looking at though, going into it as well. So definitely, yeah, looking forward to it.
Were the Cavs at all part of the conversation? Did you keep them in the loop about, because they've got a vested interest in your development and where you're going to be potentially if you're not with them? Did you and Daniel kind of keep them in the loop to say, hey, like, this is the team we're thinking about, this is their setup, this is who's involved, and they give it the tick of approval?
Yeah, for sure. I think, yeah, Dan did a lot for me during this free agency. He obviously talks with a lot of people. So I think he was definitely, yeah, keeping him in the loop, and they were just giving sort of feedback on what they thought on certain moves as well. So I'm glad that, Dan keeps everyone on the same page, and it made it easier for me as well.
And you mentioned some of the names before, but how are you feeling about the group that has been put together? You're one of the teams with a next star, which I have a particular interest in. So Ariel's coming back. You're going to play with him, and Chris, and you mentioned JLA. Like, how do you feel about the squad?
I mean, yeah, at the moment we're looking, pretty stacked. So definitely looking forward to the year. Like, I think for right now, if we're not winning a championship or something, we're going to be pretty disappointed at the moment. So I'm happy with the defense that we've built as well. I think that's something that Dean really takes pride on in the NBL, and it's something you have to be able to do. So I think that on that end is going to be super important, and it definitely makes everything easier on the offensive end as well to be flying, grabbing rebounds, and we're pushing in transition. CG spotting up, or Delhi spotting up, and or me as well. So yeah, like I said, the opportunities are endless with that team. So just looking forward to it all, really.
It's a great backup plan.
For sure.
But it's not the focus, right? Like you mentioned it before, you just slid it in because you're trying to stay focused. But that's the goal, right? To go to Summer League this year and essentially not come back.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's every guy's dream when they go to the Summer League is to crack a contract or something. But and definitely going into this, like I'm a lot more confident than I was last year as well. So it's definitely a goal of mine for sure. But either way, like I'll be happy for sure, whether it's coming back and playing for Melbourne, or it's staying in the NBA as well.
Well, my man Peter Hooley's going to be on the ground there in Las Vegas as well this year. Howard, the cameraman's going to be back in the mix, so you'll be very familiar with the crew sticking the microphone under your nose after post game. So you got to give my man Pete all the scoops along the way. All right.
Of course, got you.
All right, good stuff, man, and all the best. Finishing up the workouts in Cali. All the best for the camp in Cleveland, and I'll see you on the ground in the desert.
Sounds good. Thank you.